to play under the shadow of terror. Meanwhile, the Pakistan Cricket Board has suspended the director of international cricket, Pakistan Cricket, Usman Wala, for mishandling the Pak-India match handshake episode and not complaining to remove the match referee in time. Now, this was a stand for values, for respect, and for many, for India itself. India has been rallying behind the team. We've been providing unity, triumphs over division. But the decision to actually move out and not shake hands, was it not sportsmanlike? Was it justified? That's what we're looking at on Left, Right and Centre tonight.
You refused to shake hands with the Pakistani players after the match. Was it politically motivated, or it was just to match the vibes of the people back home after the recent skirmishes between the two countries? And don't you think that it was against the sportsmanship?
I feel few things in life are ahead of sportsman spirit also. We actually stand with all the victims of Pahalgam terror attack, and we stand with their families also, express our solidarity. Also, as I said at PC, that we dedicate this win to our brave armed forces who took part in Operation Sindoor, and as they continue to inspire us all, we'll try our best whenever given an opportunity to inspire them as well, if possible.
We were ready to shake hands at the end of the game. We obviously were disappointed that our opposition didn't do that. We sort of went over there to shake hands, and they'd already gone into the changing room. So that was a disappointing way, obviously, for the match to finish, and a match that we were, disappointed the way we played, but certainly were willing to go and shake hands.
Well, joining us now, Boria Mojumdar, consulting editor with us here in NDTV, Shishir Hatangadi, former Indian cricketer, Tehseen Poonawala, and Nikhil Chopra, my friend and former India cricketer. Thank you all very much for being with us. Boria, let me come to you first to look at the larger issue. In your opinion, was Team India's walk-off a justified act of defiance against terror-linked hostility, or did it, in a sense, undermine the spirit of cricket, which has been a unifying sport?
I think the Indian captain, firstly, thank you for having me. I think the Indian captain made this point in the press conference yesterday quite rightly, that sportsmanship after a point is not relevant when the larger picture is that of terror. I think he was 100% justified in doing what he did. There are countless examples in international sport where the sporting field has been used as a field of protest. Go back to 36, even colonial India did not perform the Hitler salute along with the United States. Take Jackie Robinson against the colour line. Take more recently Robert Mugabe's Zimbabwe, Andy Flower and Henry Olonga.
Yes.
Take our own cricketers, Pulwama. We had insignia in our caps. So sporting field allows for peaceful protest. It has forever been that way. Sport and politics have been bedfellows. I've been advocating this, that use the sports field to make the larger point that this country is a rogue nation. This country exports terror. So beat them on the field and then do it off the field as well, and project the larger cause in front of the world, which I think India has done quite beautifully, and they are very much entitled in doing so.
No, but Boria, tell me, if India had decided not to play the Asia Cup because of the presence of Pakistan, would it have impacted our participation or involvement in future sporting events, particularly since at a certain stage we want to host the Olympics as well? Would it have affected our standing, as it were?
Of course it would. And it's not just the Asia Cup. Suppose you boycott the Asia Cup. What would you do with the Women's World Cup on the 6th of October when India is the host of that particular tournament and you're supposed to play Pakistan? Once you've boycotted one game, what about the women's game? Will Neeraj Chopra pull out of the Tokyo World Championship tomorrow? Will the boxing team pull out? Where does Indian sport go? You're playing into Pakistan's hands, and all Pakistan needs to do is field one sportsperson, men or women, in any sporting event that India is part of and say, hey, come on, boycott. Boycott was never the solution. The solution was you go and play, you have a larger geopolitical ambition, you have your global positioning in mind, use the sports field. Do you remember Tommy Smith and John Carlos in Mexico in 1968? One of the most enduring images was that black salute. That is how you use the sports field. Sport has forever. Jesse Owens in 36, Jackie Robinson in 47, Curtis Flood in 63. Sport allows for peaceful protest. Sport allows you to make these larger things. Anyone who says sport and politics do not mix is the biggest liar of all. When you have your hand on your chest and listening to that national anthem being played on the sporting field, it is a political act. What India did yesterday, on the field defeat Pakistan, off the field send the message, was exactly the correct thing to do.
Tehseen, you were nodding your head. Go ahead.
First of all, good evening. Thank you so much for having me here. Good evening to all my fellow panelists and to all your viewers. I do want to agree with the last thing Boria said, that yes, sports and politics do mix, and he's given several examples. But I strongly, passionately, angrily, with all my heart, and I led the campaign to boycott Pakistan, say that we had to boycott Pakistan. It is shameful that we played Pakistan. It's a matter of shame. Allow me to articulate my points, please. First of all, let's go to history. The Asia Cricket Cup is not directly under the ICC. That's the first part of it. And in the past, India has boycotted the Asia Cricket Cup in Sri Lanka 1986. Since then, we've got several sporting events, including the ICC World Cup and the CWG Games. No world power in 2036 that India wants to host the Olympics is going to tell India that we will not give the world's third largest economy an Olympics simply because it refuses to play a neighbor. By the way, the neighbor whose sporting chief, PCB chief, Asian Cricket Council President and Federal Interior Minister Mohsin Naqvi wants to nuke us. Vishnu, you covered the defense forces. Mohsin Naqvi wants to nuke us. He doesn't want a conventional war with us. Boria is right, sports and politics mix. Let me tell you about the current Pakistan cricket team, because no other Indian cricketers do that. While Operation Sindoor was on, they were putting up memes that our women were enslaved by the Pak army and they were putting Sindoor on them. Their former cricketers were removing rallies in support of the Pahalgam terrorists. Pahalgam terrorists who entered 200 kilometers into India, opened pants, made people recite the Kalma and shot them in the head. Rallies were removed by Shahid Afridi and the ilk in support of those terrorists. Our Prime Minister told us Operation Sindoor is paused, not over. And 4 days ago, I only watch NDTV. I read, and you cover the armed forces. 2 brave martyrs of CRPF were martyred by Pakistani trained militants. This is not over. But even their analysts, I have a lot of respect for Boria. Their analysts want the current Pakistan cricket team to break down the Somnath Mandir. What has this got to do with cricket? This is a filth nation. May I please make one last point before I finish? This is just one point I'm saying. I am not saying that we can do this in the Olympics. I completely get the practicality of it. I'm not saying we can do this even in an ICC tournament. But in an Asia Cup, where by our own admission, all the money goes to Asian federations.
Okay, one sec. Tehseen, I get your point. Boria, quick response. This was not an ICC. This was the Asia Cup. Could have been done over here. India not participating. Couldn't have been done elsewhere.
No. I'm saying participate, don't play Pakistan. Please,
participate, don't play Pakistan. Boria, was that a solution?
It is not a solution. And by the way, I have respect for Tehseen as well. And a civil debate is always welcome. The fact of the matter is, Pakistan would go crying to the international parliament saying, oh, you know what, there is a junior hockey World Cup. These guys don't give us visas. They don't play us at an international forum. But in November, the Commonwealth Games bid will be given. And the Asia Cup is the last tournament before that. You're playing into Pakistan's hands by doing this. And I've been advocating this. What Tehseen wants, what I want, what Vishnu wants, what Nikhil wants is the same. The end goal is all of us are angry. All of us are frustrated and disgusted with the rogue nation. Our attitude and our policies may be different. The process may be different, but the end goal is the same. If Tehseen is a nationalist, so am I. I think India did the right thing by playing, by defeating and doing what they've done off the field.
All right, one sec. Let me go across to Shishir Hattangadi. Mr. Hattangadi, the flip side, of course, of this entire argument is this. India just had a very successful Operation Sindoor. We sorted out the Pakistani armed forces. The evidence of this is absolutely clear. The satellite imagery is absolutely clear. If this is the case, are we necessarily less of a nation in playing a cricket match? Does it make us less of a nation by shaking the hand of a cricketer? Our larger objective is the fight against terrorism. We've showed them what we can do and we went and did it. Therefore, was it that big a deal for us to decide against shaking their hands?
No, Vishnu, thanks for having me. I think
I'm going to be hated for that question. I'm going to be hated for that question big time. But please go ahead. My job to ask. Yeah.
We have a point. We have a point of view, and we have to accept what everybody says. But I agree with a lot of people who say that we shouldn't have been playing them in the first place. if our emotions are so high, our sentiments are so strong, which they are after what happened in Pahalgam. The fact that we allowed ourselves to play in the tournament or play against them in that tournament tells you that we were pressurized in a way to play the tournament for whatever reasons. And once you step onto the field, whatever you do after that is all about adhering to the norms of the preamble of the ICC and just a shake of the hand. And I'm not saying that a lot of these players may not share the ideology of what the nation has or the discourse of the nation in terms of what has happened at Pahalgam. A lot of these Pakistani cricketers probably don't even know what is happening. Leave it aside Afridi in this mix, but the others probably just are cricketers who want to play the game and raise the bar in terms of their own skills, play against a top team like India. Yes, it surprised me that we didn't shake hands. I don't think it was. I didn't look at it as a point being made in terms of a protest, because protests cannot be just written off or written in terms of a handshake after the game. I think that the matter is much more serious, and if we all feel the same about it, we would have to just go by what cricketers do after a game of cricket: shake hands.
Nikhil, you would have lots of friends who are Pakistani cricketers. Again, I'm looking at this from the other standpoint as well. The battle that India fights is against terrorism. It's against the Pakistani state, the Pakistani military. Very often the terrorist network and the Pakistani military act in unison. Not so as far as sportsmen and sportswomen are concerned. Therefore, how do you look at what we've done this time around? And the reason I ask that question is because, let's face it, sadly, terrorism isn't going away. There will be more attacks on India. As a nation, we need to be ready for that. So therefore, do we boycott Pakistani cricketers forever?
Well, I hope it goes away. I mean, we all live in hope, and with the kind of response that our Indian government did, we hope that terrorism goes away. But to answer your question, that's why BCCI and the Indian government had taken a call that we will not be playing any bilateral series. But since it's a multi-nation tournament, that's why there must have been a go-ahead, and BCCI got the selectors sitting together, picking a team, and that's why we went to Dubai and played the Asia Cup. And the Asia Cup is being played in a neutral venue. And if you remember, we played the Champions Trophy also at a neutral venue in Dubai, where Team India was winning. But your follow-up question, if I may ask, if I may answer, what Surya Kumar Yadav did, and of course the rest of the Indian team, they were well within their rights to go out there and do what they did at that moment in time. Just goes to show that the Indian team, the entire Indian dressing room were united. Their skipper, their coach, all must have taken a call that we're out there. We're going to be responsible in terms of and professional, going to play the Asia Cup, and that's about it. Simple as that. And I've been reading everywhere that apparently the match referee was told that no handshakes were going to be taking place. I mean, that's a matter of technical issues whatsoever. But I firmly, completely back Surya Kumar Yadav and the entire Indian team for what they did.
Buria, how would you look at those people, perhaps cricketers, who say that, look, a cricketer's job is to play cricket? Yes, they don't exist in isolation. They live as part of the world. This is an Indian cricketer who's part of a country which has been attacked by terrorists in the worst possible way. But then how would you respond to those who say that, look, let the cricketer play, let him or her not get involved in geopolitics, whether it's shaking somebody's hand or sending powerful messages of solidarity, that perhaps needs to be kept aside, unless you really, really want to make them. Not all cricketers have the ability, perhaps, to communicate in the manner in which we do on this pressing theme. That doesn't make them less important, does it?
The fact is very clear. The assumption of whoever says this is sports and politics don't mix. They're coming from that pristine, ideal world which doesn't exist. Surya Kumar Yadav and Gautam Gambhir or Shubman Gill don't exist in isolation. They are part of the same world that Tehseen and I are part of, and we are all angry. It is their personal call. Now think about it. You go and shake hands with Pakistan. What would Pakistan use that imagery with? Saying, oh, you know what? Now it's all normal. This is validation. This is what we were seeking. Look, Indian cricketers have done this. It is all an act of bonhomie and camaraderie. Everything is fine. So what if Pahalgaon happened? We are playing and there is no problem. These are cricketers. They have to do what their calling is, that is play cricket, and also put their calling and their nation first. They are not going to take AK-47s and fight like the army does. This is their way of protest. Sure. I have absolutely no problems in doing this. We have seen for the last 100 years racism. Think C.L.R. James. Think the entire black discourse against racism. Think Black Lives Matter. You mean to say sporting field has not been used in the past to make political statements? If anyone says that, he or she is living in a fool's paradise. Sport will always be soft power. Why are you hosting the Olympic Games or the Commonwealth Games? Because you have a global positioning, you have a global ambition, you have your soft power ambitions. Pakistan will not have that. The fact is, Surya, as a responsible citizen, Gautam, Shubman, have you seen their Twitter accounts? Each one of them have posted the same tweet dedicating it to the armed forces. They are well within their rights to do so. And if Pakistan's respect depends on India shaking hands with them, I'm sorry, they do not need to have that respect. Fahim Ashraf, who spews venom on social media, writes vile filth. If I don't believe I need to shake his hands, it is my prerogative not to shake his hands. It's as simple as that. Pakistan has not reprimanded Fahim Ashraf. He plays for that team. He's not upholding the values of sportsmanship. In my mind, I don't consider him respectful enough to go and shake his hand. And I will not do that. Okay. It is my calling, and there is no way anybody can come and force me to do so.
Shishir Hattangadi, would you agree that cricketers don't live in isolation? And therefore, for us, or for many people who have commented on this, to say that leave the cricketers alone, let them just play the game, let the politicians deal with politics and terrorism and all of that, would you believe that in today's day and age and in today's world, and based on the fact that this has happened in the past as well, you can't separate the two. And therefore, what has happened today is, in a sense, a responsibility of the cricketers to express what is a national prerogative.
Yes, it is, and it's about the boards taking that initiative. In 1965, Pakistan came to India. After that, there was a break with the Kashmir issues and the war, the East Pakistan, the Bangladesh war. We went back in 1978. There was a huge gap. There was between 65 and 78, we didn't play any cricket.
61 to 17 years, Shishir, 61.
Yes, but the last time Pakistan came to India was in 1965, wasn't it?
No, 61 to 78 we did not play. 17 years we did not.
So I've got it 4 years ahead. So the point being that when we went there, and a lot of these players who went there spoke very highly about, the reviving ties and going and the hospitality and all that. But there was a break, and the break was because of the geopolitical situation and the fact that both governments were not keen to send their teams across to play. Now, it was evident that there were issues on both sides for the teams not to go. My only point is, by allowing yourselves to play in the game, is a sort of surrender to be expressing yourself, because we all feel so strongly about what happened in Pahalgam. We all know that we have to dedicate our emotions, our empathy to the people who've lost their lives. So playing a game of cricket, actually, I'm a cricketer, but before that I'm an Indian, and I have to respect that. I have to respect that I was an Indian first and then a cricketer. So if really it matters to me, I shouldn't be playing them.
Okay, let me go across to Tehseen first, and then to my other panelists as well, Nikhil last. Tehseen, did you watch the match yesterday? Because I did, and I feel very strongly, despite my questions about this entire issue. No. But I felt compelled to watch that match. Isn't there a certain hypocrisy, therefore?
No, I respect
in saying
your
what
point
we are
of view.
saying over here and then switching on and then cheering for India in that match. Saying, I love this cricket that's happening. I love Bumrah bowling.
Okay, may I answer? So please,
keep it short. My question was very long.
Yes, so please allow me, because I have other important points up to me. But speak for yourself. I didn't watch the match. I think it was No, I did not even. I mean, I got the updates. I have NDTV apps. I got the updates. I didn't watch the match, and I was glad that the stadium wasn't full. I have 3 or 4 points to me. Look, again, I'm not questioning anybody's patriotism. The fact of the matter is, for every ball yesterday, there's a bullet coming our way. It's a matter of luck if it hits Boria, Shishir, or me. And the only difference between us is our pants and what's between our pants. I'm being very direct out here. That's what those terrorists did. That's how they killed people. Number one, Pakistan made 35 crore rupees. BCCI is making nothing. Third point, Hamid Mir, a veteran Pakistani journalist, said this: the fact that the Indian cricket team steps onto the field is victory for Pakistan after Operation Sindoor. Fourth thing, the cricketer Boria's naming, I don't even want to name that piece of filth, wanted our women enslaved. Let's call it out for what it is. And the fifth thing, the Davis Cup 1974, India boycotted the finals. And what happened after that? India was not as powerful as it is today. The whole world boycotted South Africa after that. I again repeat, the Asia Cup 1986, we hosted after that. The World Cup, we hosted the Commonwealth Games. This fantasy that in 2036 we won't get the Olympics because we're saying a nuclear neighbor is threatening to nuke us, that to the PCB chief.
Okay.
I think that is scary.
Okay, Tehseen, hold on. I've got just enough time for Nikhil to make his point. Nikhil, is there a certain double standard in many of us watching the game and then having this argument on TV today?
Well, you know, at the end of the day, in India, cricket is also a religion. Vishnu, and if there's a game, I think what Surya Kumar Yadav did after the game, saying, you know, those memories are fresh, it was his way and the way of the Indian team giving that victory and dedicating it to, you know, the army personnel. That's what sportsmen or athletes can go out there and do. At the end of the day, they were clinical, they were professional, beating Pakistan with great amount of ease. And look at the victory of margin in a T20 game as well. I mean, that's what they could do, and that's exactly what Surya Kumar Yadav did. And I'm sure the words that came out from Surya Kumar Yadav, he obviously sat down, he was disturbed, you know, fresh in his mind, those thoughts. And that's why the dedication came at the post-match presentation as well.
All right, but I'd like to thank all of you very much for joining us. You know, I mean, it's important to be sportsmanlike, but I suppose when it comes to our countries and patriotism and the nature of the threats that we face, perhaps that needs to always be thought about first and foremost. We leave it there. Time for this short break. Well, we're on an incredible piece of Indian engineering. Shiv and I are absolutely privileged to be here with Larsen & Toubro in Hazira near Surat. This is a tank. It's called the Zorawar. It takes the battle to the Chinese in altitudes upwards of 15,000 feet.
You know, Vishnu, it's actually incredible that for a country that has fought so many wars in the mountains and at high altitude, a country didn't know until it had another war on its hands that it needed a tank like the Zorawar.
No, you're
and that's
quite
the
right.
kind of tank we're sitting on.
You're absolutely right. Now, India does have a history of light tanks.
Yeah.
We've had the Sherman tank, you know, pushed up the Zojila Pass in 1948. We've had the AMX light tank. We've had the PT-76, but they want Indian.
Yeah.
This is an Indian tank for a new modern Indian requirement, and it stands out as the best tank of its class, possibly in the world.
There are tanks like the T-15, which the Chinese deployed in Ladakh during the standoff. There is the Sprut, which is a Russian tank, which the Russians have been offering us, hoping that India will buy it along with all the other Russian weapons. But the Indian Army and the Indian government took a decision that this was a requirement that needed to be met here in India. And that's the reason why, you know, we use the phrase mission mode, Vishnu, which is building a weapon system like the Zorawar in response to a live threat or a live combat situation, which is what Eastern Ladakh really is. And that's the reason why Vishnu and I sitting here on the Zorawar means so much, Vishnu. This is the actual tank that was there in the mountains.
And this was a tank which was designed and developed and prototyped and rolled out in 21 months. This has already done trials quite successfully by LNG, not yet user trials, up in Ladakh, out in the desert as well. They are fixing it to make it even better, and very soon it's going to be handed over to the Indian Army to put it through some incredibly rigorous trials, because acquisition of these tanks in very large numbers takes place only once that's done.
Well, let's just why mountain tanks are necessary, Vishnu. You know, in places like Ladakh, where you've got very steep slopes, access is difficult. You know, the closest a tank can get to a roadhead can be many hundreds of meters because of snow, etc. How does a tank like this really help? And what is it like fighting in those altitudes?
A tank like this is crucial and is better in many senses than the existing tank we have because it's got a very high power to weight ratio and it's light. It weighs approximately 25 tons. You know, the main battle tanks of the class of the T90 are more than twice the weight of this tank. And in the rarefied atmosphere of Ladakh, in temperatures which go down to minus 30, you know, minus 35, you need a light tank with a very high power to weight ratio to be able to operate. Forget about the gun for a moment, forget about the systems. If you don't have mobility, then you're nothing. And this tank is much more mobile at those altitudes than what we operate with.
So you've got a main gun, you've got this weapon over here, you've got missiles housed in that canister over there. So this is a hugely armed light tank. It's not just built for mobility, it's built you know, to really deliver a punch and really deliver hurt to any adversary that comes anywhere within range of it. It has an incredible suite of electronics, targeting systems. There's crew comfort that's been built into the Zorawar.
What seems settled for me is unfinished business. So I rewind, I pause, I reflect, I dig until what's buried stands up to be counted. Breaking ground, not just headlines, the meaning behind them. This is Breaking Ground with me, Vedika Sood.
हेलो बोलिए मैडम डब्बा ट्रेडिंग कब से चल रहा है पता है मैडम आपको हम और आप तो जन्म भी नहीं हुआ था हमारा
We investigated a shady advisory firm that has spent big bucks on advertising on the front pages of national dailies.
ये आपको बिल्कुल उसका ऐसा हल्का सा भी खौफ नहीं है
मैडम एक बात को खौफ किस लिए रखना चाहिए ये तो बताओ कौन सा गलत काम कर रहा हूँ मैं
After our report, we also saw NSE came out with a cautionary circular to the investors. Market Regulator Securities and Exchange Board of India has also come out with a release talking about the actions that it has taken. Cyber complaint has also been filed against the entities involved in this entire Dabba trading scam.
This is the Zorawar, India's very own light tank. Built for a very specific requirement, to defend our forces and attack when necessary in high altitude areas. Conceived of in the post-Galwan context and in direct response to the emergence of the Chinese Type 15 light tank, the Zorawar is meant to plug holes in India's armoured defences. At the moment, India uses heavy tanks, the T90 and T72, way up in the Ladakh heights. These are far too heavy and unwieldy for operations in the rarefied atmosphere. And so, Zorawar was designed and developed in 21 months straight. Weighing in at 25 tons, close to half the weight of the older tanks, the Zorawar can be easily airlifted and is built with the future in mind. Upgradability. Designed to operate with drones, it will also feature an active protection system, a system which intercepts incoming missiles and rockets to protect the tank. But these upgrades will come later. At the moment, the army appears committed to the tank, which is being trialled not just in high altitude areas, but also the desert. The Zorawar weighs 25 tons. It has a power-to-weight ratio of 30 horsepower per ton. That's key in the mountains. It has a 1,000 horsepower engine. It's amphibious. It can ford rivers and lakes. It can fire missiles, has a 105mm main gun, a 12.7mm remote-controlled weapon station, and a 7.62mm coaxial machine gun. In trials in September last year at the Mahajan firing range near Bikaner, The Zorawar hit its targets with pinpoint accuracy, using its Belgian-designed gun, proving its lethality.
This first image of the BMW crash accused, the accused Gaganpreet has been sent to 2-day judicial custody. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in poll-bound with Bihar. He was in Pune where he raised the infiltration threat. He said that Purvanchal is under threat from illegals. The RJD in the meanwhile has responded saying that the infiltrators are the responsibility of the centre. Pakistan threatens the Asia Cup boycott. The PCB now demands India-Pak match referees' removal. The Pakistan Cricket Board has alleged violation of the ICC Code of Conduct. US trade negotiator Brendan Lynch to arrive in India tonight. US-India trade talks to continue tomorrow. The Supreme Court refuses to stay the entire Waqf Amendment Act, states certain provisions of the law, including the power of district collector and inclusion of non-Muslims in Waqf board. The centre says most of its arguments were accepted by the court. Well, breaking news coming in at the top of this bulletin. This is related to the BMW accident case. A bail plea has now been filed by the accused Gaganpreet. Remember, she was sent to 2-day judicial custody. The court has issued notice to the Delhi police as well. The court is set to hear this matter on the 17th of September. The accused, as I mentioned, has been sent to judicial custody for 2 days. My colleague Shreya Ghosh now joins us to get us more on this. Shreya, take us through the details.
Well, of course, we understand that the accused, Gaganpreet, who was driving the BMW X5 that rammed into the motorcycle carrying these two senior people, one of them who lost his life, 57-year-old Navjot Singh. The accused, Gaganpreet, has been arrested and she was produced before the court. And now she has been sent for 2 days judicial custody. The court will be hearing the matter day after tomorrow. And this is the big development that is coming regarding this case. We understand that, this incident happened yesterday on the busy ring road when this BMW being driven by Gaganpreet rammed into this motorcycle, and that led to the death of the 57-year-old finance ministry official Navjot Singh. His wife sustained severe injuries, but now she is in a stable condition. She went through treatment, and the accused Gaganpreet, who decided to take the victims and transport them to a hospital which is 22 kilometers, almost 19 kilometers away from the accident spot. Of course, that angle is being investigated at this point in time. She was arrested on grounds of rash driving causing death, but now the other angle of tampering evidence, because it's being investigated. And the police also said and questioned Gaganpreet that how come that she did not inform the police before taking the victims to such a far off hospital. And she said that, out of panic, out of shock at that very moment after the accident, she felt that, GTB hospital, whose owner happens to be her own acquaintance, that is where she admitted the victim, the victim Navjot Singh, who later lost his life, and his wife also went through minor injuries. So now she's gone into judicial custody, and the court will be hearing the matter day after tomorrow on the 17th of September. Back to you.
All right, Shreya Ghosh there. Thank you very much for getting us all those details. Meanwhile, there has been massive outrage and grief after the senior finance ministry officer Navjot Singh, he was killed in that crash. His wife is battling for her life. Serious questions have emerged. Why was he taken to a hospital that is almost 19-20 kilometers away, bypassing closer facilities? Was previous time lost in saving him? And what about the driver herself? Now, this case is not just about a fatal accident. It's also about privilege. It's also about power, accountability, and whether justice will finally be served. Navnoor Singh, the son of Navjot Singh, the man who was killed in this accident, he believes his father's life could have been saved if he had been taken to a super specialty hospital nearby. Meanwhile, the couple they had gone out to a gurudwara in the morning. Then they had gone for lunch when this accident took place. The Delhi police, in the meanwhile, has filed a case of culpable homicide and negligence. They also suspect evidence tampering in this particular case.
आप थोड़ा ढाना सके आप ये बता सकते हैं कि क्या हुआ था, कैसे आपको जानकारी मिली?
तो मेरे को एक फैमिली फ्रेंड का कॉल आया था कि ऐसे ऐसे मेरे मम्मी पापा का एक्सीडेंट हो गया, बट आई वॉज वरीड, बट लाइक माइनर एक्सीडेंट हो गया क्योंकि पापा बहुत केयरफुली चलाते हैं, तो आई वॉज नॉट वेरी वरीड। बट फिर उन्होंने मुझे पिकअप करा और हम वहाँ गए। हाउएवर थोड़ा वो था कि वो बंगला साहब गए थे और वापस घर आ रहे थे, तो इट डिडंट मेक सेंस कि आज़ादपुर के किसी हॉस्पिटल में वो एडमिट हुए हैं मुखर्जी नगर के पास, तो वो थोड़ा अजीब लगा था। फिर मैं वहाँ पहुँचा तो हमारे एक और पापा के दोस्त हैं, वो ऑलरेडी वहाँ पहुँचे हुए थे, तो उन्होंने मुझे फिर बताया कि पापा की डेथ हो गई है। और मम्मी से मैं मिला था, उनकी तो हालत ख़राब थी, उनका बहुत सारी चोटें लगी हुई थी, हेड इंजरी भी थी, इवन दो हेलमेट पहना हुआ था उन्होंने, फीमर उनकी पूरी शाटर हो गई है। आफ्टर द एक्सीडेंट धौलाकुआं में हुआ था। उनको फॉर सम रीज़न जो वो थे जिन्होंने जो ड्राइवर थे उन्होंने वहाँ भिजवा दिया 20 किलोमीटर्स अवे इन सम हॉस्पिटल कॉल्ड न्यू लाइफ GTB नगर में, एंड इट डिडंट मेक सेंस। 1 घंटे का रास्ता है यार वो, एंड टाइम इज़ क्रिटिकल आफ्टर एक्सीडेंट। तो अब आई डोंट नो द डिटेल्स एट, CCTV फुटेज अभी नहीं आई है कि एग्जैक्टली कैसा हुआ क्या हुआ, बट आई थिंक ये 1 घंटे क्या पता अगर पास वाले हॉस्पिटल में जाते मे बी ही वुड स्टिल बी हेयर।
उन्होंने अपनी तरफ से तो यही कोशिश किया है कि भाई मैनिपुलेशन करने वाली बात है। जब आप दूर ले जाएंगे, मतलब एक फंडामेंटल रूल है कि किसी का एक्सीडेंट हो जाता है उसको घर उस स्पॉट से नियरेस्ट पॉसिबल और हाई स्पीड से ले जाना होता है ताकि उसके सर्वाइवल के चांसेस ज़्यादा हों। लेकिन इस केस के अंदर उन्होंने उसको फर्दरेस्ट ले गया ताकि उसके सर्वाइवल के चांस बहुत ही रिमोट हो गए और वो चला गया, मर गया।
आपको लगता है कि अगर आसपास करीब 5 से 6 बड़े अस्पताल हैं, अगर वहाँ वो ले आते तो शायद जान बच जाती? बिल्कुल पास में ही बहुत सारे अस्पताल थे।
देखिए, उसके धौलाकुआं के रोड बोर्ड के पास हमारा RR है, रिसर्च एंड रेफरल आर्मी हॉस्पिटल। उधर वो एक ब्लिंडन हॉस्पिटल जिसको बोलते हैं, राम मनोहर लोहिया, उधर है। और भी 1-2 हॉस्पिटल है, वहाँ उनको ले जाया जा सकता था, लेकिन इन लोगों ने इंटेंशनली उसको, जैसे आपने बताया कि उसकी औरत के कुछ पेरेंट्स का हॉस्पिटल है जिनमें हमारा लड़का होनहार अकेला लड़का ख़त्म हो गया इसकी, इन लोगों की वजह से।
मेरा बच्चा इतना अच्छा होशियार हो था, पता नहीं किसकी नजर लग गई, क्यों मारा, क्यों किया, क्या कसूर किया था उसने। दोनों का, वो भी तो पड़ी हुई है हॉस्पिटल में, उसके भी हड्डियाँ टूटी पड़ी है, पीछे सिर फटा हुआ है उसका, हेलमेट पहनी हुई थी उसने। कोई सोचा ही नहीं करता चल मैं गुरुद्वारे जाता हूँ, कई बार जाते हैं, बाइक में भी चले जाते हैं। तभी 11 दिन पहले ट्रेनिंग गया था, ऑफिस की ट्रेनिंग थी यहाँ पर ही।
क्या कहेंगे कि
इंडिया
ये एक हादसा है या कोई साजिश इसके पीछे?
नहीं, बेचारे की कोई साजिश नहीं, कोई नहीं।
A massive controversy erupted after Team India players refused to shake hands with the Pakistan cricket team. The Pakistan cricket team has lodged an official complaint to the ACC. They are also now threatening to boycott the Asia Cup. Here's a report.
Well, he's gone for it. It's a big one. Way to finish this match. Surya Kumar Yadav moves on to 47 not out. India once again. A handshake denied, a moment missed,
and an Asia Cup clash that has turned into another flashpoint between arch rivals India and Pakistan. What should have been about cricket is now suddenly about controversy. When the Indian team walked off without a handshake, Pakistan's coach Mike Hesson made his way to the Indian dressing room, only to be met with a cold shoulder and a closed door. The backdrop is critical. Just months ago, 26 Indians were killed in the Pahalgam terror attack. Tensions were already sky high. On the cricket field, that unease spilled over.
I just wanted to say something. I think it's a perfect occasion, and taking the time out, we stand by with the victims of the families of Pahalgam terror attack, and we express our solidarity. And also, most important thing for me, we want to dedicate today's win to all our armed forces who showed a lot of bravery, and they hope they continue to inspire us all, and we give them more reasons on the ground whenever we get an opportunity.
We were ready to shake hands at the end of the game. We obviously were disappointed that our opposition didn't do that. We sort of went over there to shake hands, and they'd already gone into the changing room. So that was a disappointing way, obviously, for the match to finish. And a match that we were, disappointed the way we played, but certainly were willing to go and shake hands.
But important ये था कि ये match इसलिए भी important था because as a team, we wanted to show our solidarity towards the victim of all the families that has what they've gone through during the Pahalgam attack, and more importantly, we want to thank the armed forces for their successful Operation Sindoor.
Humiliated on a global stage, Pakistan's cricket board has threatened to boycott the Asia Cup altogether. The demand: sack the match referee and restore what they call the spirit of cricket. And soon the politicians were at the crease.
लेकिन एक बात स्पष्ट है कि भारत को ये फैसला करना पड़ेगा कि अंतर्राष्ट्रीय मैच में हमको भाग लेना है या नहीं लेना है। मैं या किसी तरह के इस तरह के कार्यक्रम में अगर भाग लेना है तो फिर सबसे हाथ तो मिलाना पड़ेगा।
तो यकीनन ऐसी तस्वीरें उनकी भावनाओं को भी विचलित कर सकती थी कि जिन्होंने हमारे अपनों को मारा, उनके साथ आप इस तरीके से हाथ मिला रहे हैं, मधुर संबंध आप बना रहे हैं, इन भावनाओं को ठेस। बहरहाल जिस व्यवस्था में वो लोग थे, एक खेल खेला जाना था और उसका भी हमारे खिलाड़ियों ने उतना ही सम्मान रखा और उसी भावना से उस खेल को खेला और जीत कर सही मायनों में जिस तरीके से उन पीड़ितों को सम्मान देना चाहिए था, वो हमारे खिलाड़ियों ने ज़रूर दिया।
For two nations burdened by tragic history, even a handshake or denial of it can spark a storm. From Pahalgam to the pitch, every move is political. A handshake denied, a win dedicated, and cricket once again caught in the crossfire of a rivalry that refuses to fade. Malvika Mulli's report for NDTV.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in poll-bound Bihar. He was in Pune where he raised the infiltration threat. Prime Minister said that Purvanchal is under the threat. He also warned the Congress as well as the RJD, saying that infiltrators will have to leave. The RJD has responded saying that it is the responsibility of centre to tackle this issue.
साथियों, कांग्रेस और आरजेडी ने न केवल बिहार के सम्मान को खतरा है, बल्कि बिहार की पहचान को भी खतरा है। आज सीमांचल और पूर्वी भारत में घुसपैठियों के कारण डेमोग्राफी का कितना बड़ा संकट खड़ा हो चुका है। बिहार, बंगाल, असम, कई राज्यों के लोग अपनी बहनों बेटियों की सुरक्षा को लेकर चिंतित हैं। इसलिए ही मैंने लाल किले से डेमोग्राफी मिशन की घोषणा की है। लेकिन वोट बैंक का स्वार्थ देखिए, कांग्रेस, आरजेडी और उसके इकोसिस्टम के लोग घुसपैठियों की वकालत करने में जुटे हैं, उन्हें बचाने में लगे हैं और बेशर्मी के साथ विदेश से आए घुसपैठियों को बचाने के लिए ये नारे लगा रहे हैं, यात्राएं निकाल रहे हैं। ये लोग बिहार और देश के संसाधन और सुरक्षा दोनों को दांव पर लगाना चाहते। लेकिन आज पूर्णिया की इस धरती से मैं इन लोगों को एक बात अच्छी तरह समझाना चाहता हूं। ये आरजेडी कांग्रेस वालों की जमात, जरा कान खोल के मेरे बात सुन लो। जो भी घुसपैठियां हैं उसे बाहर जाना ही होगा।
18 वर्षों से सरकार उनकी है केंद्र में, 20 वर्षों से यहाँ मुख्यमंत्री हैं आदरणीय नीतीश कुमार जी। वो अपनी उपलब्धि बता ही नहीं पा रहे हैं। अब घुसपैठिए का जहाँ तक सवाल खड़े करते हैं तो उनको तो सबसे पहले जवाब देना होगा। ये तो अपनी सरकार का पोल खोल रहे हैं, 11 वर्षों से सरकार में है और सरकार में रहते हुए तो घुसपैठिए घुसे कैसे? ये तो सरकार की नाकामी है। अब कह रहे हैं डेमोग्राफी चेंज, ये आपको भी गले के नीचे नहीं उतर रहा होगा। सरकार किनकी है केंद्र में? हमने पैरवी कहाँ किया? हमने तो कहा, हम लोगों ने इंडिया गठबंधन ने कहा घुसपैठिए घुसे कैसे, इसका जवाब तो सरकार दे दे। 11 वर्षों से सरकार में है, घुसपैठिए कर रहे हैं चुनाव के समय। धर्म के नाम पर सिर्फ ये करना चाहते हैं वोटों का ध्रुवीकरण। इनके पास अपनी काम बताने के लिए कोई नहीं है इनके पास मुद्दा जो ये बता सके कि हमने ये काम किया। ये सिर्फ चाहते हैं ये सब करके लोगों को फिर से झांसे मिले। अब बिहार भी तैयार है। अब इनके जुमलेबाजी और इस सब तरह के झांसे में बिहार की जनता नहीं आने वाली है। बिहार की जनता रोटी, कपड़ा, मकान, रोजगार, नौकरी पर, ये तो वोट चोरी में पकड़े गए तो अब घुसपैठिए पर सवाल करे। भाई घुसपैठिए को निकालने से किसने मना किया?
Time for a very short break. More news and updates on the other side.
ब्रेकिंग न्यूज का जमाना है। सबको तिल का ताड़ और राई का पहाड़ बनाना है। ऐसे में जनता के जूते के अंदर फंसा कंकड़ कौन देखे? बड़े बड़े मुद्दों के शोर में जमीन से जुड़े मुद्दे अक्सर खो जाते हैं। लेकिन देश तरक्की तब करता है जब जनता के माथे की शिकन हमारी हेडलाइंस बनती है। मैं सैयद सुहेल भारत को जीता हूं, भारत की बात बताता हूं। एनडीटीवी इंडिया पर।
Rajasthan is history, culture, and much more. And I have been reporting on all things royal for more than 25 years.
The colors, the culture, and the complexities of the Northeast is different from the rest of the country. I have been bringing the Northeast closer to the capital for over 15 years. Madhya Pradesh is the heart of India, and I have been capturing its every beat for over 10 years, covering the corridors of power, what is said, what is left unsaid, and what it actually means for you and me. I have it all covered.
Kashmir is often called paradise on earth, a region that has been in a state of flux from conflict to India's crowning glory. I have been reporting and decoding Jammu and Kashmir for last 3 decades.
Across the country, he has tracked the pulse of power from Washington to Korea. Witnessed history being made in global capitals and conflict zones. Brought clarity to complex issues of national security and international affairs. And now, Aditya Raj Kaul begins a new chapter at NDTV.
Actually, I'm taking off because the stories I cover don't sit still. To bring the world to India and to take India to the world, I need to be where action is.
Aditya Raj Kaul, covering international affairs like no one else. Only on NDTV network.
Pulling us into this country. They argue, I conclude. They deflect, I drill down. Stop. This isn't a free-for-all. It's a reckoning. No filler, no fog. Only the facts and where they lead.
Every night at 9, the case closes because the buck stops here.